Let's give a couple of more minutes and let people join in. After that, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining early. All right, Abhijit, we can go ahead and get started. Can you all hear me? Abhijit, can you confirm?
Yeah, Neeraj, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. My name is Neeraj Kumar. I'm lead cloud architect. I'm also an MCT, Microsoft certified trainer. Today we have gathered here to talk about O365, and it's all thank you to Abhijit Chakraborty, who is a technical architect. Can you go back, Abhijit, back to presentation? We were seeing your screen. Sorry. Abhijit?
Yeah, so I am in the presentation itself.
Oh, okay, sorry, it was refreshing a little bit late. Yeah, thank you. So as you know that we have been conducting Azure Talk for a while now, and we have conducted more than 36 sessions, and this time around we have decided that we should expand our horizon, and we should also cover O365. And thanks to Abhijit Chakraborty, who is a senior technical architect and who has 18 years of industry experience, and he's based out of Kolkata. He has volunteered to run these sessions where, we will start with O365 introduction, we'll build on top of that, and we will have multiple sessions on O365. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Abhijit, to take this lead and give this presentation to the audience, and I really appreciate that. And we always look forward for volunteers who can help us run these sessions. With that, today's agenda, even before we get into agenda, if you have not already registered, please do go ahead and register on our website, www.cloudwithk.com. Once you register, you will become part of our mailing list, and you will receive weekly invite, just one invite, and we will not spam you. We promise you will not spam you. That's only for sending the meeting invite for our sessions, and that happens every week. Also, we have our own O365 group, which probably if you're already a member, it's good. If not, then you can go ahead and join that, which is https://o365talk. So you can join that group. Additionally, you all know, if you're really into AzureTalk, you can always join AzureTalk Telegram group, which is azure.me/AzureTalk. With that, I will hand it over to Abhijit. He will take us on the journey of O365 and help us understand what is O365, and he will also help with us setting the context for O365. Over to you, Abhijit.
Thank you, Neeraj. Good morning, good afternoon, guys. My name is Abhijit Chakraborty. Like Neeraj has told, that I hold around 18 plus years of experience. I am the senior technical architect for Smart Planet IT Solutions. So I take care of the entire Microsoft stack, starting from Exchange servers, SQL servers, data centers, Windows servers, and definitely the private and the public cloud part. Today's session is actually actually a beginner session of Office 365. What we have decided, or what we think that before going into deep down on Office 365, let us give you some brief idea about what is Office 365 is all about. We will start with what do you mean by cloud? What is cloud? Types of cloud models. Then I will just give you a brief idea about the different types of cloud models. That is the IaaS, the PaaS services and the SaaS services. With respect to a model which I call as a pizza model, so it will give you a better understanding about what the cloud models are about. Once we finish with that, we will jump into the Office 365 family overview, the brief history about Office 365, how Office 365 comes into the current phase. Then we will give you a brief product portfolio about what are the Office 365 plans that is there, what are the Office 365 products that is there. Then we will jump into licensing models, and then I will give you a product descriptions and features. And last, we will give you an overview of the entire admin console of Office 365. In this entire 1.5 hours of session, I will be pausing in quite a sections to take up questions from you guys, to take up queries from you guys. Feel free to ask questions, and let's do it as an interactive sessions. So when we talk about cloud, if I give this name, the name of the slide as clouds computing, the elephant view. So if I take cloud as a big giant elephant, and if we the IT peoples, or if the users, or maybe the customers, there is very little idea about what is cloud is all about in front of the customers or in front of the technical people. So if you can see this particular picture, so if I take this particular elephant as the cloud, so if I take this elephant as the cloud, and you can see that each and every part, we are all we are unable to visualize what cloud is all about, right? So each and every one of his having a different idea, a different concept of cloud is all about. So with this picture, I try to demonstrate you is that these are 5-6 people who are unable to see, and like by touching each and every parts of the elephant, he is actually trying to visualize what the particular thing is all about. Like this person is touching the trunk, he is thinking that this is actually a snake, right? So likewise, we don't have a very good idea, or the customers doesn't have a very good knowledge about what cloud is all about. So once we talk about cloud, there is a particular model, or which I told you earlier, like the model I called it as pizza as a service. So if I draw a pizza model, or if you want to have a pizza in your home, so this is the model that I actually designed. So if you see, like if you want to prepare a pizza at home, so these are the couple of ingredients which is actually required, right? So you need cheese, you need toppings, you need tomato sauce, and there are many other ingredients that is required. So if you try to procure all these ingredients and try to prepare a pizza, so that particular pizza is actually what I call it's an on-premise pizza, right? So because whatever the ingredients, whatever the infrastructure that is required to prepare that particular pizza, that has been procured by you only. So starting from the cheese till the dining table, each and everything is actually procured by you, maintained by you, and the ultimate outcome, the pizza, that's an traditional on-premise pizza, what we call is all about. Now, if we shift a bit, so if we outsource couple of ingredients outside, means if we go to the market and if we bring couple of ingredients from the market, like say the cheese, the toppings, the tomato sauce, the pizza dough, if we go in the market and if we bring to prepare your pizza, but still we use our own infrastructure like the fire, oven, dining table, and the soda, if we still use our own. So we can call it as an infrastructure as a service. Now, infrastructure as a service, because the first four ingredients, these are the main ingredients to prepare a pizza, right? Now, since this four ingredients is actually not prepared by you, it has been outsourced by some other vendor, or maybe some you have gone to the market and you have procured all those ingredients. So this particular thing, this infrastructure, since it is procured from outside, since you are just using the service of those infrastructures, so for that reason we can call it as a infrastructure as a service. Now, to jump a little bit, you don't want to do all those hassles and you don't want to prepare it. So what you want to do is that you just give a call to the nearest pizza center and you just bring the pizza at home, right? So in that case, starting from the cheese till the electric gas, means till the pizza is prepared, everything, each and every ingredients, each and every infrastructure is used by the pizza company. The pizza company is using their own infrastructure. They're preparing the pizza and they are giving you a ready-made service in the form of a pizza. What you are doing, you are taking the pizza, you are using your own infrastructure, only the dining table and the soda that you own, you procured. So you are using those and you are using that particular pizza and you are consuming it. So if you are outsourcing the entire infrastructure as well as the things which is required to prepare those infrastructure, so that is platform as a service. Now, since you are using your own infrastructure of dining table and soda, so for that reason, that particular thing is a platform as a service. So you will be having a better idea once I move to the next slide. Just have this picture in mind, and when I will move to the next slide, you can actually compare this with the next slide. And the last but not the least, it's the entire thing is actually outside. So you are not using your dining table and soda as well. You are just going to your nearest pizza counter, entering the pizza counter, ordering the pizza and consuming it. So since the entire infrastructure, starting from the cheese till the dining table, everything you are not using or your own, you are using a particular someone's other infrastructure. Hence, we call it a software as a service, right? So you can see that all these blue squares, these are you managed. That means the customer is actually managing it. And if you go for the green squares, these are the vendor managers. So starting from this traditional on-premise till the software as a service, so if all these things are actually procured by you in case of traditional on-premise, it is known as an on-premise infrastructure or your typical or your traditional data center, right? Whereas when you are moving your entire infrastructure and you are just using the service of it and you are outsourcing the entire thing and you are just using the service of it, then it's as a software as a service. Now, if I compare this particular pizza model with that of my next slide, so this is the same pizza model with respect to our cloud model, right? So I have just separated all the responsibilities. So see, when we are using our own networking infrastructure, the storage infrastructure, the servers, virtualization, OS, middleware, till the applications, when all these things are actually managed by the customer itself, or maybe when all these things are actually managed by you itself, then it's a traditional on-premise infrastructure. Okay. Now, when part of this particular infrastructure is outsourced, like you are using your own OS licenses, you are using your own application, the data that is residing on those infrastructures as your own data, right? But only the infrastructure part, only the hardware part, you have outsourced it, right? So that is a typical infrastructure as a service. So you can say that if you are preparing a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure or maybe in AWS or maybe in any other cloud platform, if you are creating a virtual networks in AWS or in Azure, if you are creating a storage in Azure or AWS. So these are all infrastructure as a services. So you don't have to worry whether your server is will be having downtime, whether there is any power requirement, the cooling of your servers, or maybe the maintenance of your storage. So you don't have to worry about that. What you are doing, you are just outsourcing the entire infrastructure to the public vendor, to the another vendor, and you are just using your own OS, middleware, and applications and data, and you are running your entire infrastructure, right? So this is called typical infrastructure as a service, right? Coming to the next part, when even the runtime, middleware, and operating systems are also not procured by you, and you are using the operating systems, runtimes, and middleware by some other vendor, only you are having your own application. It can be a proprietary application of yours, it can be some other application of yours, and you are only using only having your data, and you are using the entire infrastructure, as starting from the networking infrastructure to the runtime infrastructure. You have outsourced this to some other vendor. That part we call it as platform as a service. Okay, so you can see, like in if I talk about Microsoft Azure, so in Azure we can prepare a networking, we can provision a storage, we can create a virtual machines, we can also use our own we can also use operating system licenses, we can create runtimes, we can create middleware. So if all these things are managed by Microsoft, or maybe AWS, or maybe Google, any vendor it can be, and we are only bothered about the applications that you are using, that part is called as platform as a service. Okay, and last but not the least, if your entire application, starting from your infrastructure till your data and your application, if everything is managed by other vendors, that is software as a service. So when we are talking about Office 365, so Office 365 actually falls under the software as a service, right? So in Office 365, whatever the products that we use, whatever the features that we use, or whatever the platforms that we use, neither of those platforms or infrastructures is owned by you or owned by your customers. It is the service that we are using. We are using mailing, maybe for mailing solution, we are using Exchange server. For this particular session that we are conducting with the help of Skype for Business, right? So it's an audio video conferencing solution that we are using. So do we have any infrastructure of audio video conferencing? Do AzureTalk is having any infrastructure of audio video conferencing? No, we don't have. What we have a service known as Skype for Business. We have procured that service from vendor like Microsoft. We are using their infrastructure, and we are only using the features of that particular service. So that part comes to under software as a service. Okay. Okay. Now, before I move to the next slide, so it's actually an Office 365 plans overview. So I would just like to pause a little bit. So to ask if you guys have any questions, so you can raise your hands, and we will be there to answer you.
I think there's a question, but I want to re-emphasize this concept of infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Most of the guys, if you have worked with Azure, most of the time you would have used infrastructure as a service or platform as a service. Most of the time. The SaaS concept, is mainly around with O365, where, everything is hosted and provided by Microsoft, or, Dynamic CRM is another example of software as a service. These are the two components, or EMS, Enterprise Mobility Suite, that's another part of that. But apart from that, probably we have worked on infrastructure as a service and platform as a service more often than not, but O365 it falls under the SaaS component. All right. Is there any
Okay, Vijay, so I have unmuted you guys. So if you have any question, you are free to ask.
I don't have any question for now, but yeah, thanks for unmuting us.
Yeah, okay, fine. Thank you, guys. So, yeah, Srinath, it's more or less like same as Salesforce. So, Dynamics 365 is what we call in a small terms as D365. So, yeah, it's same as Salesforce or maybe as Zoho CRM. So you may have heard Zoho, right? So both are same software as a service. So guys, let's move to the next part of the slide. So in this part, I will give you a brief idea about Office 365 plans. Now, we talk about Office 365, but let me 365 is actually not a product. So we cannot sell Office 365. What we call Office 365, it's a basket which is having multiple products, right? So Office 365. Now, with respect to Microsoft, so if in this particular session, if there are some guys who are dealing with licensings, so they will be knowing better with respect to Microsoft. The segment is actually divided into two parts. One is a small medium business, which is now changed into SMC, that is small. So how Microsoft classifies it, this SMB with who is having a machine strength or who is having a computer strength of 300 greater less equals to 300. We Microsoft puts those customers under SMC. Okay, small medium corporate. Now any customer and plans for enterprise. Okay. Now all SMB plans, all plans, whatever the plans that I'm going to discuss now, all plans is having certain features in common. Now what are the features? All these plans is having 300 seat capacity. Okay. So if you want to see, all these plans is having 300 seat cap. So that means for a single plan, maximum number of license which can be procured in a single plan is 300 NOS. All these plans is by default having a financially backed up 99.9% SLA guarantee. All these plans is having 24/7 phone support for critical issues. And all these plans is having Active Directory integration features by default enabled, right? So these are the common features of whatever the plans that I'm going to discuss now, right? So let's jump into the plans. So the first plan that I want to jump is, we call it as Office 365 Business. Maybe in some places, in some customers also call it as Business Open. Some customers call it as O365 Business. So the first plan is Office 365 Business, which is having only two products. Now, what are the two products? Two products is Office Apps plus OneDrive. Okay. Now, Office Apps means in this particular business
Abhishek, can you hear me?
yeah,
Abhijit, can you hear me? We lost the screen share. Can you reshare it?
doing it. So is it visible now?
Not yet for me.
Okay. So I think I should repeat this once. So likewise, I was telling you that Office 365, the entire plan segment is subdivided into for two business segments. Okay, for two business segments. One for the SMCs, couple of plans are for the SMCs, and rest of the plans are for enterprise. Now, for whatever the business plans or whatever the plans that I am discussing now, all these plans is having certain features in common. Certain features in common. So what are these features? So the features are all these plans is by default having 300 seat cap. Okay, 300 seat cap means 300 seat cap, and all these plans is by default having 99.9% financially backed up SLA guarantee. All these plans is having 24/7 phone support, and all this plan is by default supports Active Directory integration. Okay. Now, so whatever the plans that I will be discussing now, all these plans is having these features by default enabled by Microsoft. Okay. So if I jump to the plan, the first plan that I want to share with you is Business, Office 365 Business. Some people call it as Business Open, because if you are a Microsoft partner, if you works with a Microsoft partner, or maybe if you have any interaction with Microsoft salespeople, so they call it as Business Open, O365 Business Open. Now, what are the features that is there in this particular O365 Business Open? You get three products basically. One, Office apps. Second, OneDrive, right? Now, Office apps means you get two versions of Office. One, Office, mainly Office is Office 2016 standard. What are the Office products that you get? You get Word, Microsoft Word, you get Excel, you get PowerPoint, you get OneDrive, you get OneNote, and you get Outlook. Okay, so these are the products that is there present in Office 2016 standard. So in Business Open, you get Office 2016 standard. That means Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, plus OneDrive, plus Office Online. Now, when we talk about Office Online, Microsoft has given a feature of using the Office on your browser, right? Though all the Office versions are not there, the features of the entire feature of Office also is not available in the online version. But if you are using an Office Online, you are using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. So we call it as Word Online, Excel Online, PowerPoint Online, and Outlook. Okay. So these four products plus Office 2016 desktop installable version plus OneDrive is available in Business Open, Office 365 Business Open. Okay. Next, so it is just for the customers who want just Office app. So move customers of Office on premises. So suppose a customer is using Office on premise version, a perpetual license of Office on premise, and they want to reduce, because if you talk about Office perpetual license, the cost of an Office perpetual license is huge, right? So whereas in comparison with Office Business Open, the price is much more lower. Okay. So, and the features are also much more higher. Okay. So I will be telling you like what are the difference between a perpetual license and cloud licenses in my future slides. So there you can have an idea like how you can force your customer, or how you can pitch in front of your customer that sir, if you are using a perpetual license, if you are using an on-premise license, if you move your on-premise licenses or if you move your on-premise infrastructure to the cloud, what will be the return of investment? What will be the ROI that you will be getting? Okay. Next plan is business essential. Now, I have written a line cloud services, right, below business essential. So what are the things that you get in business essential? Okay. In business essential, you get the entire Office 365 suite. I'm again repeating it. You get the entire Office 365 suite except Office desktop installable version. That means you get Exchange, you get mailing solution in the form of Exchange Online, you get audio video conferencing solution with respect to in the form of Skype for Business, you get document management and collaboration solution with respect to in the form of SharePoint 2000, SharePoint Online, you get cloud storage in the form of OneDrive, you get corporate social networking in the form of Yammer, and you get Office Online. Okay, so the only difference between business and business essential is that in business you are getting only the Office application which you can install in your desktop, and simultaneously you can also use it online. But in business essential you are getting that Office Online part, as well as you are getting Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive, Yammer, as well as Office Online, right? But in Business Essential, you are only not getting the desktop level installable version of Office, right? So whatever you do, you have to do online. All the users must be connected to the internet in order to access Business Essential, and you don't have an offline facility in Business Essential. Okay, so competitively priced and featured for entry-level cloud services, evolution of small business. Okay, so it is actually for a very small business, like for a startup business or maybe a business who is having around 200 to 250 users setup, and who doesn't want to spend so much on licensing, so much on product licensing. So you can go there and you can pitch Business Essential, which is having all the entire Office 365 suite plus Office Online, and you don't have Office desktop version. Now, so now we have an idea of these two plans, that is business and business essential. So definitely there you may have a question in mind. So definitely, shall we not get a plan where we can have the feasibility of using Office desktop version plus the entire Office 365 suite? Definitely we have that, and we call it as business premium. Okay, so in business premium, so that's the reason that I have put this business premium on the top over this business and business essential. So you can simply, what are the features of business premium if you want to know? It's actually business open plus business essential is actually business premium. That means you are getting the entire cloud services of Office 365. You are getting Exchange Online, you are getting SharePoint Online, you are getting Skype for Business, you are getting OneDrive, you are getting Yammer, plus desktop installable version of Office 2016 standard, plus Office Online. Okay, so business premium is actually a combination of, or is actually a total product of business open plus business essential. Okay. Now, if you want to see the better features, so if I move to the next slide, just let me know if you can see the next slide. So you can see like in business we have smartphones.
Abhijit, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, all right. So I think there's some problem with Abhijit. So let's give him a couple of minutes. He'll rejoin. So I think there was a question about the seat cap. So I think hello. So there was a question about the seat cap, and Rodney explained it really well. That seat cap is the amount of users that you can have license at one go when you want to buy, when you purchase online. But if you want more than that, then probably you have to contact Microsoft representative, and and they can help you with more licenses. But when you're buying it online, without having to contact Microsoft, that's the cap for all the plan, business essentials, and business premium. And what else question I see? The question about the seat cap. Is that the minimum cap to go for any plan? Yeah, that's what I think. The 300 is not the minimum, that's the maximum cap. Minimum, you can go depending on how many users you need maximum. But if you want to go beyond 300 users, if you're really big, huge enterprise customers, you would like to get in touch with Microsoft representative. That's what it is. Yeah, so I think a minimum is 5. Yeah, probably that will depend. So how Office 365 is different from Microsoft 365? I don't know. Okay, so the Office 365 is just one, it's all the Office in one. You have all Office, OneDrive, SharePoint, Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, whereas Microsoft 365 includes Office 365 plus Windows license, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a new offering which Microsoft has come up with maybe 3 months or 4 months back, where Satya Nadella announced that, where they'll start offering you the Microsoft Windows 10 license bundled up with Office 365. Yeah, so that was Microsoft 365. That's a concept of that, where they're bundling the Windows and Office 365 license. We're trying to see, we're asking Abhijit to rejoin. And all right, we can see your desktop, Abhijit. You may want to unmute yourself. You will have to redial. Abhijit, you're still not in the call. I can see the screen. Abhijit, you need to dial in. So I still see that you're not part of the meeting. All right. Yeah, Abhijit, you need to click on the your. I don't see in the audio call at least, so you have to join the audio call. All right, now I think you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Yep, now we can hear. Hello. No, it's not. Abhijit, can you hear me? You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Sorry, we lost you for a while, and I tried to answer some of the questions that you had, that we had in the chat, like about the seat cap and also. So I don't know if you heard it. So you can go ahead and resume it. So there was a question about the seat cap, 300 seat cap, which is applicable to all the plans. So was that the max or was that the minimum? So that was the question.
Yeah, so I think Vijay, you have asked for a minimum capping. No, that is the maximum capping for all the plans, for all the SMB plans or for all the business plans. That is the maximum capping per tenant. Per tenant means once we take an Office 365 license, you have to create. Microsoft actually creates a domain for you. So for that particular domain, 300 is the maximum license that you can assign per plan.
How about if I need more than that? How do I do that?
So in that case, you can do a combination, like I said, permutation and combinations of all these three plans: Essential, Open, and Premium. So there you will be getting 300 into 3, that is 900 users. So you can assign it into a single tenant and you can use it. And if you have a requirement of more than 900, then definitely either you have to go with enterprise plans or you have to go with standalone plans.
Okay, so then I take back my words. I think earlier I said that you contact Microsoft rep and that will go up, but that's not the case. If you really need more than 300, go with the enterprise version.
So
very quick question. Quick question related to same thing. As far as I know, but for fast track offering that Microsoft gives, is there a different set of licensing that happens? Because I see a different cap there for the seats. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
So for the first track, there is no different capping. The capping remains the same. Okay. Now, because for all these plans, like for business, essential, premium, and open, whether you are in normal licensing mode, that is whether you are in a normal MALP license or you are in a CSP license or you go with the first track, the capping remains the same. So it will be 300 only.
Okay.
Abhijit, there was another question about Microsoft 365, which is a new offering where Microsoft has bundled Windows licensing and O365. Do you have some? So there was one question.
Yeah, so that product is known as M365 Business. So M365 Business is actually like many people said that 300 capping. If I need more license than 300, then what will happen? Why there should be many plans like Open, Premium, and Essential? There should be a single plan where I can get all the features. So M365 Business is a new product which is coming up, or which is coming up into the market, or which has been given by Microsoft. So there you get the entire features of Office 365 plus the Office, plus there is an option where you can get the Windows 10 upgrade licenses. Okay. So like if you are using a genuine operating system, whether it's on Windows 7 or it's a Windows 8.1, so if you want to upgrade it to Windows 10 with the help of M365 Business, by procuring it, you get the rights of upgrading those licenses.
Oh, so it's only the upgrade license, not the fresh Windows.
It's only the upgrade licenses.
Okay, so there was
you are not getting
Rod.
So you are not getting the professional version of the enterprise version. You are only getting the opportunity, or you are only getting the feature of upgrading your existing previous operating system to Windows 10.
And there was one question about Rodney. Can we get more than 5 desktop installs per user? By default we can assign, or we can.
That's a very good question, Rodney. So there are many confusions about using Office 365 for 5 desktops. So many a times what I face is that once I go to the customer to pitch Office 365, maybe customer is having a requirement of 20 licenses. So since customer is having an idea that one Office 365 can be used in 5 different devices, So customer says that I need 4 licenses and I will be using 20 desktops for that. So that's not the case. Definitely a single Office 365 license can be used. A single Office 365 license can be used in 5 different devices of the same user. Okay, like say I am having Office 365 license, I am having an Office 365 user ID. What I can do is that I can use that user ID to log in with my desktop. I can use the same user ID log in with my laptop, and I can use the same user ID logging with my other smartphone devices. But actually, technically, sync only occurs one at a time. Means the active device will only sync, rest will only receive the updates. So at a time, you cannot just log in with from 2 devices and you cannot do the job. Okay, so it's for a single user, 5 devices of the single user. It's not that you can use with 5 different user IDs. So the user ID will remain the same, and with the same user ID, you can use 5 of your different devices. So is it clear, Rodney?
Yeah, I think so. So let's go ahead, move into the slide. I think we have more to cover and we have 45 more minutes. So we'll take the question and answer, once we are done with the slides, and we can have the session.
Okay. So definitely. So just if I just before jumping with the next slide, I think Rodney has asked a last question. So if the user has say 20 devices, what would you do in that case? So in that case, the user has to take 20 licenses. So for Office 365, just remember one bottom line. Office 365 is a user-based license, per user per year licensing. So it's a named user licensing. Okay. So for 20 devices, you need 20 different licenses. 20 different user IDs you need to assign. Okay. Fine. So, guys, let me move to the next slide. So, this is the core Office 365 plan layout. Okay. So, I have shown the enterprise plans as well. So, like I have already shown you that the business plans are. I have already shown you that the business plans are having business open, business essential, and business premium. The enterprise plan is having Office Pro Plus. We call it as Office Pro Plus. We have Enterprise E1 and Enterprise E3. Now, definitely you guys will be having a thought that what are the features that is there in this Enterprise E3 or Enterprise E1 or Pro Plus, right? So the features are same with that of business, right? So you can say Office 365 Business Open and Office 365 Pro Plus, feature-wise, both this product are same. Okay. What is the difference? The difference is in Office Business Open or in Business Open, you get Office 2016 standard version. Okay. Whereas in case of Pro Plus, you get Office 2016 professional version. That means what are the products that will be there in Office 2016 professional? You will be getting Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Publisher, InfoPath, Sky for Business, OneDrive, as well as Access. Okay, I am again repeating it. In Office Pro Plus, you will be getting Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, InfoPath, Publisher, OneDrive, and Access. Whereas in case of Business Open, you get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Outlook. Okay, so that means the entire Business Open Office 2016 suite plus InfoPath, Publisher, InfoPath, Publisher, Access is there in Office Pro Plus. Okay, this is one difference. And the second difference is Office Business Open or Business O365 Business Open is having a 300 seat capping, right? I told you, right? There is a 300 seat cap. In case of Pro Plus, there is no seat capping. So you can take n number of licenses and you can assign n number of licenses into a single tenant. Okay. So feature wise, Business and Office Pro Plus is same. Feature wise, Business Essential and Enterprise E1 is same. Okay, you only get unlimited licenses in Enterprise E1, whereas you only get 300 licenses, 300 user capping is there in Business Essential. Okay, and feature wise, Business Premium and Enterprise E3 are same. Okay, now apart from these plans, like I told you, Office 365 is a basket. So these are the plans which is there. Apart from these plans, like I told you, you can get Exchange Online, Skype for Business Online, right? So if any of the customer is only having a requirement of mailing solution, so Microsoft has also offered standalone plans. We call it as standalone plans. So you can get all the standalone plans. That is, you have separate plans for Exchange Online, OneDrive for Business. You have Project, Visio, CRM. Whatever the products that is there in Office 365 is now available in the cloud. You can also procure it as a standalone plan. You don't need an entire plan of Business Premium or Enterprise E3. You only want mailing solution? Fine. Microsoft is there to provide you only mailing solution with Exchange Online. But let me tell you from a sales perspective, going with these plans like Business Premium or Enterprise E3, it's like just like going to a restaurant where you are having an option of going for a buffet, or you are having an option of going for a la carte, right? Now, if you are going for a buffet, you are paying less and getting much more flavors, right? So there will be a combination of 7-8 menus which constitute a single buffet. Now, once you go for an a la carte, so you don't have so much options. You have option to choose 1 or 2 menus, and definitely you pay more in a la carte with respect to buffet. So this Business Premium, Essential, Business Open, or maybe Enterprise E3 or E1 are all buffet plans of Office 365. Whereas in case of Exchange Online, OneDrive for Business, SharePoint Online, these are all a la carte licenses or a la carte products of Microsoft Office 365, right? So you pay more for this a la carte products, whereas if you go with this combined SKU or the combined plan, you pay less, okay? So this is the entire full plan lineup. So definitely the slides will be shared, the videos will be shared. So there you can actually see what are the things that is there. Okay. So in Office 365 Business, I have already showed you. So see, in case of Enterprise E3, you get all the features of Office 365, including Office Pro Plus. And in case of Enterprise E1, see, so the seat capping, this is unlimited. There is no seat capping for enterprise plans. For business plans, you can only get a support for critical issues, okay? But for enterprise plan, you can get support for all issues. Maybe for an issue where you are unable to assign a license, for an issue where you are unable to change the password, like small admin issues also, you can get support from Microsoft. But in case of business plan, only for critical issues where your major production is down, or maybe a major impact has happened which has stopped your services, you can get support for that. Okay. So any questions as of now? Guys, any questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
Is this licensing cost is based on the per user or based on the entire product level?
No, it's based on per user per year. So whatever the price that you gives to the customer, it's yearly pricing and it is per user per year. Though Microsoft has already offered a monthly pricing as well. So now if a customer wants, they can procure Microsoft Office 365 in a monthly model. But generally it is monthly or maybe yearly and per user based model.
Avijit, Vipin this side. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Vipin, tell me.
Avijit, I have one question. For enterprise plan, whether it is E1, E3 or E5, do we have any minimum requirement that if we are going or anything?
Frankly speaking, Vipin, there is no minimum requirement. The
Okay.
only requirement is that your customer is willing to pay you more.
Okay.
So that is
Okay.
the only requirement. Like
So
if
from
a customer is
Microsoft,
having a 50 user setup and if customer is ready to pay you for enterprise E5, E3 plan, then there is no issue. That means Microsoft will not come and stop you in selling E3 or E1.
okay, so they are free to give it either we have requirement for 5 user or 5,000 user.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually depends on the customer requirement. So I will be going deep down for these plans. There are certain features which is not available in E1, which is only available in E3. So if the customer is having a requirement of those features, definitely you have to pitch E3.
Okay, okay. My main query is just that do we have any minimum number of?
No, there is no minimum
like,
number requirement.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
And Abhijit, will there be any price difference if I go with more than, more users rather than 510 users if I go with 5,000 users?
See, in that case, definitely there will be price differences. But definitely the price depends on Microsoft part, on the because you may be knowing how Microsoft works for licenses. Microsoft doesn't directly sell licenses to the customer. They actually depends on the Microsoft partners. So it depends on the partner. It depends on Microsoft whether they are providing you some special pricing or special discount.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's a question about why E5 is missing from Pulkesh. So we didn't see anything for E5.
Pulakesh, E5 is actually a very new SKU which is launched in market or which is launched by Microsoft. So what I have thought of putting E5 or giving E5 some special aspect. So definitely in the next slides, we will be defining what E5 is all about. So E5 is actually not missing. I'm actually putting a better stress on E5.
Okay, Vijay, one more question. You have
Yeah.
put E1 under E3 bucket. Okay, on your previous slide.
Yeah.
On your previous slide, you have put your E3 under E1 under E3 bucket. I just wanted to understand how we can differentiate E1 and E3.
So, like the way, so are you clear with the differentiation between business premium, essential, and business open?
Yes, I understand that.
So it's the same way, right? So enterprise E3 is nothing but it's a combination of Pro Plus and enterprise E1.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
So, guys,
there's another question. There's another question from Rodney saying, just to confirm, for the apps that enterprise includes, also includes for the tablets.
More or less all the apps which is there in Office 365 is now available in tablets, providing the condition that your license provide using of all those apps in your tablets or smartphones. So, apps means if you want to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, Skype for Business, OneDrive in your smartphones, so that apps are already available. Provided there are two conditions. One, your license is actually giving you the rights to use those apps in your smartphones, number one. And number two, your administrator has given you the rights to use those applications on smartphones. Okay, guys. So I think I should move to the next slides. So before I move to the next slide, these plans of Office 365 is subdivided into many plans. So the individual plans also, the individual standalone plans also is having classifications. Like Exchange Online is having two plans, Exchange Online Plan 1 and Exchange Online Plan 2. So each and every standalone plans is also subdivided into two plans. One is Plan 1 and another is Plan 2. Just remember one thing, all the Plan 1s, that means if you want to go with a business premium license, In Business Premium, you will be getting Exchange Online Plan 1, Skype for Business Plan 1, SharePoint Online Plan 1, OneDrive Plan 1. Okay. And in the only means all these plans, that means for Business Premium, for Enterprise E1, for Business Essentials, means all these plans except Enterprise E3 is equipped with Plan 1. Okay. Only Enterprise E3 is having Plan 2. Now, there may be a question which comes into your mind, like what is the difference between a Plan 1 and Plan 2? So I will just give you a brief idea. So if you see in the advanced services, right, in the advanced services, there are certain features which is not there in E3, which is not there in E1 and any other plans. Like if we want to go for a compliance, if you want to go for compliance, if you want to go for audit, if you want to go for e-discovery of mails, or if you want to go for a content search, okay, if you want to implement DLP, that is data leak prevention, if you want to implement right management services, IRMS, information right management services, if you want to implement GKIM in your mailing solution, right? So if you want to implement encryption in your mailing solution, so those all features are there with Exchange Online Plan 2, and hence those features are only available in Enterprise E3. Okay. Excuse me. Apart from that, there are certain basic differences between Plan 1 and Plan 2 with respect to mailing solutions only. If you are going with Exchange Online Plan 1, that means for plans which start from Business Premium, Business Essential, Business Premium, and E1, if these three plans is having Exchange Online Plan 1, you are getting 50 GB of inbox space for mailing solution I'm talking about. You are getting 50 GB of inbox space. You are getting 50 GB of archiving space, which is separate from the inbox. You get 150 MB of attachment size. So though I say 150 MB, by default, when you activate the license, the default attachment size is 35 MB. So you have to take help of the PowerShell command to increase the maximum send limit from 135 MB to 150 MB. But you get 150 MB attachment size in all those plans. Whereas, it's 50 GB of inbox space, 50 GB of archiving space, and 150 MB of attachment size. And without features of e-discovery, DLP, and RMS. Okay, so this constitutes Exchange Online Plan 1. Whereas in case of Exchange Online Plan 2, the inbox size is 100 GB. Okay, the archiving size is 100 GB. Attachment size remains the same for 150 MB. With e-discovery, mailbox hold, encryption, RMS, and DLP by default enabled in E3. So if you are having an Enterprise E3 plan with Exchange Online, definitely in E3 you will be getting Exchange Plan 2. So you will be getting all these features. Okay. So there are many other features which is also there for SharePoint Online and SAP Online. So if any of you is having a personal requirement of getting a futuristic difference between any of these products of Plan 1 and Plan 2, so you can just buzz me in our group, in our Office 365 group, so I can share you documents on that, so you can have a clear idea about that. Okay. So so that's what we have for business and for enterprise. Next, let's jump to Microsoft Office 365 E5. So E5 is a new feature or a new product which has been launched by Microsoft with in the enterprise segment of the business. Like you have you can see the difference between E1, E3, and E5. The difference between E1, E3, and E5 is in E5 you get a couple of more features which is not there in E3. Okay, so in E5 you get known as Equivio. So Microsoft has integrated with Equivio, and there is they have given a business analytics tool for e-discovery. You can secure your attachment, like the attachment that you are providing. You can actually secure your attachment and URLs that you are providing. Apart from that, you can create access controls. You can write ACLs in E5 with the help of which you can actually control the access of how your exchange or how your mailing how a user will use the mailing solution, right? So I can give you a typical example, you don't want an user to delete their mails, right? So they cannot do a shift delete of their mails. So if you want to create an access control like this, you can do it, right? You don't want your users to print a particular mail or print the mails. Whatever the mails that he receives, you want the users cannot print those mails. So these types of access controls you can actually define in E5. Apart from that, the major difference of E5 and E3 is that in E5, Microsoft has integrated PSTN conferencing tool, PSTN conferencing for Skype for Business, and you have an option of going for a cloud PBX. Okay, so if you want to set up a cloud PBX for your company, if any of your customer wants to go for a cloud PBX, maybe a customer who is running a BPO business, a customer who is running a KPO business where outgoing calls is the main nature of the business of doing is, or the main revenue earning portion of the business is outgoing calls. So you can create cloud PBX, and you can, instead of using the traditional SIP phones or traditional IP phones, you can create a cloud PBX, and with the help of Skype for Business software itself, you can dial up inside and outside with the help of cloud PBX. And as well as PSTN conferencing facilities also available in Skype for Business, right? So if you have, Skype for Business comes up with a soft phone. So if you're installing a Skype for Business client in your laptop, you will be having an option of a soft phone. As well as there are certain devices, certain companies which is actually compatible with Skype for Business. Like there are devices from Polycom, there are devices from Lifeguard, there are devices from Cisco, which actually gets integrated with your Polycom. So you can also set up a hardware telephony device which actually integrates with your Skype for Business, and you can do a PSTN conferencing. Okay. So this is the total plan lineup for or the futuristic difference between E1, E3, and E5. Let's go deep down into E5. So in Skype for Business E5, the feature that you are getting in Cloud PBX is end user call handling. You can set up and use call designations. You can go for a team calling. That means a conference type of calling. You can use your IPDEX phone, a phone which supports a SIP connectivity, a phone which supports IP addresses. That means the IP phones, you can actually configure it with that of Skype for Business. So there are certain features which is there in Cloud PBX. For PSTN conferencing, you can see that these are the features like meeting dial out to PBX and PSTN users. So from your Skype for Business, you can actually go for a calling outside. Like if you want, you can call a mobile phone, you can call a landline from your Skype for Business if you're going for a PSTN conferencing. And and if you are having a PSTN conferencing kind of a facility, if you are going for a dialing conferencing kind of a facility also, so you can also use the PSTN conferencing things to go for a dialing conferencing. Okay, so and the PSTN calling is also available in case of outgoing calling for domestic and international. But remember one thing, Microsoft doesn't provide you or doesn't give you any rights to or not charging anything for the calling that you are making. So there are providers who provides this calling facilities, who gives you these numbers. So you can actually connect with those providers and you can configure this. The calling rates, outgoing and incoming calling rates is definitely which Microsoft will not be taking care of. They are giving you the infrastructure, and you have to discuss with your PBX vendors or with your SIP vendors for those outgoing calling rates and all those things. So that's not a part where Microsoft is interfering. Okay. Another thing which is there in E5 is actually Skype meeting broadcast. So you guys, since you guys are all technical guys, so you may be using broadcast video conferencing solutions, right? Where you can reach 10,000, hundreds of peoples, 500 peoples at one shot, right? So Skype for Business, which is there in E5, gives you an option to reach 10,000 people at a time. So currently the capping is 10,000 broadcast at a time. It can be done with E5. And not only that, you can share your video and like the way I am sharing my presentation with you guys, like the same way you can share your content, you can share your meeting experience, you can go for a real-time co-authoring. That means you are going for a video conferencing with a couple of guys. You can, and you want some of the guys to go for a editing of a particular document that you are sharing. So you can go for a co-authoring with this. So I have shown some certain screenshots. So if you can see that these are certain screenshots that I have shown, right? So this is a screenshot for co-authoring. This is a screenshot for Skype for meeting broadcast. So you can actually do a Skype for meeting broadcast and all those things with the help of E5. Okay. Like I said, PSTN conferencing is definitely a part which is there in A5. So provides dial-in out capabilities for conferencing meetings, right? One meeting solution, one vendor bill and support channel, diverse meeting join options for attendees, includes phone key commands, and definitely E5 with respect to pricing, definitely E5 is now a much lower priced than E3. So that's a surprising thing that Microsoft has done. So with respect to pricing, its E5 is much lower than E3 actually.
Is there a catch, like, you need to have minimum number of user license to be eligible for E5?
No, there is no minimum number of user license which is required. So maximum number is n numbers. That means there is no user capping. Like in case of business, 300 user capping is there. In E5, there is no user capping. You can go for any number of users with respect to E5.
Thank you.
And basically, in the next slides, I will be showing you demo of how to create a demo account for your customers. So what Microsoft is now doing is that they, for any kind of a demo which or maybe a POC, proof of concept that you want to show to your customers, so Microsoft is actually providing E5 licenses only.
Okay. Yeah, I think, just quick time check. We have 18 minutes, so probably, we can.
Sure. So like I told you, so you have PSTN conferencing, you have cloud PBX solution. So here you can actually see. Here you can actually see that with the help of a number has been assigned to this particular user, and he can do a cloud PBX calling. So he can actually call and dial out his mobile, dial out his number with the help of the Skype for Business software itself. Okay. Another thing which is there in E5 is that because Microsoft has now integrated the business intelligence tool. That is, you guys may be knowing that Microsoft is having a BI tool which is known as Power BI. So Power BI is now integrated with Office 365 E5, and you can do all the analytical jobs with the help of Power BI. Delve is another enterprise search or maybe an organization analytics tool which is also integrated with E5. So you can also create a real-time walk map with your team. If you have handling a couple of members in your team, you can do a real-time walk mapping with Delve. So there are certain products which is already by default enabled with E5. So you get to have a Power BI with the help of business intelligence, and you get to have Delve, which is organization analytics tool. Okay. Another important things that I should tell you, because the main constraint of selling Office 365 when I go to customer place I face is that Google is offering solutions of also, like you have Google for Business, you have G Apps, G Suite for Business. Once we pitch all this, means in front of the CTO or maybe the CIO, you can say about features. Sir, Google is not offering this feature. Office 365 is offering this feature. So, but when it comes to pricing, Google is definitely on a very high, very lower side with respect to Office 365. But in order to cater those kind of a situation where you are saying that Google is offering all these features, like Google is also offering mailing solution, they are also offering audio video conferencing solution with respect to Hangout, right? So what is the difference of Skype for Business and Hangout, right? Or why should I go with Office 365? So in those scenarios, you can actually say that Google, whatever the documents that you save in Office 365, in E5 license, there is a feature which is known as customer lockbox. Okay, so in lockbox, what happens is that there are certain files which customers want to protect. So what he can do is that customer can request a support ticket, can raise a support ticket to a Microsoft engineer. Microsoft engineer will activate a logbox system for that particular customer. Remember, this feature is actually free if you are using an E5 license. For this particular feature, you don't have to pay anything extra. Okay, this particular logbox system access will store all your confidential file, and the access to this lockbox will be only given to the customer. Okay, even Microsoft cannot access those files unless and until there is a customer approval that has been provided to Microsoft in order to access that. Okay, so Google also provides the same kind of a solution in the form of Google Vault. Okay, the product is called Google Vault. First, Google Vault is not a proprietary product of Google. It's a third-party product which they have procured. So, and second is, if you want to go for the Google Vault, you have to pay $30 extra for procuring Google Vault per user. Okay, so whatever your licensing cost is there, you have to add $30 per user per year in order to get a Google Vault access. Whereas in case of Microsoft, this customer lockbox is actually free. Okay. Apart from that, advanced threat protection is also available, like for protecting your mailing solution with malicious activities, with from malwares, from spywares, from phishing attacks. So it's actually there. And another thing, with the onset of advanced threat protection, what Microsoft has done is that currently advanced threat protections can scan 7th level zip. 7th level zip means, suppose you are having a file and you are zipping that file 7 times. Okay, so Microsoft advanced threat protection can actually scan that actual file even if that file is zipped 7 times. So 7th level zip scan is also possible in case of advanced threat protection, which is definitely not there in other competitive product with respect to Google or maybe IBM Verse or maybe any other solution. Okay, so these are the features that is there in E5. So since we are running a short in time, so definitely I will take questions in another 5 minutes. But let me show you how you can create a trial account. Okay, so to create a trial account, you just have to log into MicrosoftOfficeDemos.com. So so guys, can you see my screen? Can you see my browser?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
I can see the browser. So
if you can go to MicrosoftOffice.com, so MicrosoftOffice.com, MicrosoftOfficeDemos.com, so it will actually land you to this page. So in this page, in order to create a demo, either you need to be a Microsoft partner for a Microsoft partner login, or you have to be having a Microsoft.com Corp network ID. That means you need to have an employee of Microsoft, right? So if you click on Microsoft partner login, so you can just put your login ID out here. So like you can see that this particular site supports multi-factor authentication. So let me just approve my login request from my smartphone. So once you logs in with your Microsoft Partner Network ID, you will be actually landed to a demos page. Okay. So this is the demos page. And if you want to create a demo for a particular environment, you just need to go to environment and you just have to go for create a tenant. Now, once you go for create a tenant, you are getting this couple of options, right? So this is Microsoft 365 Enterprise Content Demo. Okay. So like I told you that this particular demo is having E5 license enabled. So I will show you a couple of demos which I have already created. You have an options of go for a Microsoft M365 business demo. You have an option of creating an education content demo, right? So if you want to just create a demo, just select your tenant location. So for mine, it's India. By default, it will select India. These are the add-ons that you can create. I'm not selecting any add-ons because once you select add-ons, it takes some time to provision those add-ons. So you can actually provision all these add-ons like Project Online Demo, Modern Retail Workplace, or Microsoft Teams or Azure Advanced Threat Protection. You can actually click this and this particular add-ons will be added. And just click on Create Tenant. Agree it. And Microsoft is actually creating a demo for you. So it takes a couple of times. So see, now your demo is actually ready. So this demo is actually for 90 days. You can see this demo is for 90 days. This is your username. Okay. This is your password. And this is your portal password. So what you can do is that you can just share this login credentials with your customer, and customer will be having a live Office 365 license. In a general scenario, for a demo, 25 user license has been assigned. Okay, so customer can use this and can have a feel and look about how Office 365 is all about. Okay. So like I show you, you can just log into this web page, www.microsoftofficedemos.com. You can click on environment. You can click on create tenant. Once you have tenant, you have an option of creating this tenant. You can click on create tenant, and you can prepare a day. So this is my last slide. Let me take you back to, let me give you an idea about how the admin console looks like. Okay. So hope you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, Abhijit.
Okay. So this is the Microsoft admin URL, portal.microsoftonline.com. Okay. There are two URLs. One is portal.microsoftonline.com and second is portal.office.com. Now, if you want to directly log into admin console, if you have an admin rights, so you can click on portal.microsoftonline.com. Now, once you click on portal.microsoftonline.com, it will be landed to this page. Okay. So if I click my ID out here, so you can see like this is the admin console. Okay. Here you can create active users. So any users that you want to create, you can just click on add user, and then you can give the first name, last name, click the username, and then password can be auto-generated, or you can create a password of your own. There is an option of make this user change their password at first logon. If you want, you can uncheck it, so user don't have to reset their password. You can select roles. So Office 365 actually supports RBAC, that is role-based access control. So you can have a normal user, you can have a global user, or you can also create a customized administrator. Like for Exchange only, if you want to create a administrator, so you can just create customized administrator, select an Exchange administrator, and he will be only having an administrative rights for Exchange. Okay. Last is product license, which is very important. Now, in case of product license, like I have, since I am a Microsoft partner, I am a Microsoft Gold partner in cloud. So I get, as part of my internal usage rights, I get to have all those licenses. So that's the reason I have so many licenses. Now, if you have a single license, maybe you have taken Office 365 Enterprise E3. So once you start creating a user, by default Enterprise E3 will be enabled. Okay. Now, since I have a couple of licenses, so by default all is enabled, all is disabled. So if I were to enable Office 365 Enterprise E3 to this particular user, I just click on off to on, and by default you can on off the categorized licenses. Like if you want your user not to use maybe Office Online, you don't want the users to use it, you can just click on off, right? You don't want Office 365 Pro Plus to be used by the user, you can click on off, right? So you can also subcategorize the licenses. Okay. So these are the active users. You can create groups. So definitely we will be taking another session where we will be sharing advanced level for administrative training. So it's just a basic administrative console that I want you guys to show. Okay, so you can create distribution groups, you can create Office 365 security groups. If you want to see your subscription end date or subscription expiry date, you can just go to billing, click on subscriptions. And you can just select any, suppose I want to see my expiry date for Office 365 Enterprise E3. So you can actually see it. So my Office 365 Enterprise E3 actually expires on June 15, 2018. Okay. If you want to see how many license has been assigned to users, so here is the license summary. So if you go for Office 365 Enterprise E3, so I have 125 licenses. Out of that, I have assigned 90 users. So out of 290 users, I have already assigned licenses. So another 35 licenses is actually free for me. Okay. If you want to raise a support ticket, you can just click on support. You can just click on new service request. You can put the problem that you are facing, and you can click on get help. Now, once you click on get help, Microsoft will by default share you a knowledge base based on the questions that you have raised. Now, if you are not satisfied with the knowledge base, you can actually tell them to contact you and get help of whatever the settings that you are getting, whatever the issues that you are having. Apart from that, these are the product specific admin consoles. Like you have an admin console for Exchange, you have admin console for Skype for Business, and whatever the product that is there. Okay. Now, since I told you, like, since I am using Azure, I am using Enterprise E3 licenses, so I get an option of Azure Active Directory. So by default, Enterprise E3 is having Azure Active Directory premium version, premium P1. Okay. And since I am a gold partner, I also get used to using Intune licenses. So definitely we will be coming up with these features of these products in our later advanced sessions, and we'll be posting you with all these features. So guys, so far today, so I am again opening the channel for questions and answers. So if you have any questions, you can ask me.
Avijit, Vipin here.
Yeah, Vipin.
Avijit, you discuss about team call. So how this team call is different from a normal Skype call? Is there any technical feature difference also in the team call, or only that is a group call, and here we need to define the people and add the people for Skype call?
Yeah, so the team call is basically Microsoft has come up with a product which is known as Microsoft Teams. Okay. So team call and Skype call, there is like Skype call you can do with other people as well, like with a group of people who is not part of your organization. Like I am doing a Skype call with you guys who are not part of my corporate network, right? With my Office 365 licenses. Whereas in case of team calls, if you have having a group of teams and you want to arrange a calls within that particular team and share documents and share notes, so with the help of Skype for Business you can do that team calls also, or maybe with the help of Microsoft Teams also you can do the same thing.
Okay, so team works only within the organization. That is the only difference.
No, I will not say that team works only within the organization. There is an option of accessing Microsoft Teams from outside the organization also. But by default, when you assign a license or when you activate Microsoft Teams, by default, the enable external organization feature is by default visible. If you enable it, definitely you can work with Microsoft Teams with other members of outside your organization as well.
Like yeah, so Vipin, I think that feature is, recently introduced, if I'm not mistaken, federation with external.
Exactly.
Microsoft has. Yeah, it's 1 or 2 months back. I was, following up on that feature. So now you can invite external users without having to assign them a license.
Exactly. The only difference is that many of the customers may be having Skype for Business, but many of the customers may not be having Microsoft Teams installed, right? So you can, that in Skype for Business, even if you don't have a Skype for Business software installed in your machine, the entire video conferencing works on a browser. So what I have come to know is that Microsoft Teams on the browser is also coming up. Maybe in a couple of months, Microsoft Teams on the browser will also come up. Then we can see Teams working on browser as well.
Okay. Thank you, Vijit.
Okay, so I have a question from Pulokesh, but what if I create once and give a demo to one customer, and after that I got another customer and need to give him demo? Okay, fine. So Pulokesh, once you create a demo, you being the demo creator or you being the demo organizer, you have an option of reassigning the demo to another customer, okay? Or you have an option of deleting an existing tenant and create a new tenant, okay? Only there is one capping is there. In a single day, you cannot create more than 3 tenants, and in a single day, you cannot delete more than 3 tenants. So if you have exceeded the creation of number of tenants of 3, then the 4th time when you will try to create a tenant, that particular portal will say you that you have exceeded the maximum number of tenant creation.
Okay, thank you, Abhijit. It was really nice session. I can understand now, and this is really helpful. To understand. Your examples are very quite clear. So, thank you so much.
Yeah. So, guys, any questions? If you want, you can raise out here. We are already on the verge of closing the session. So,
Avijit, I have a question here. Once I register for O365, I'll create a tenant. So is that tenant different than the tenant which I have for Azure Infrastructure as a Service?
So I'll take that. I'll take that question, Abhijit.
Yeah, sure.
So, when you create an Office 365, which is a software as a service offering, so the access to that is controlled through Azure AD. So that tenant which you create is, belongs to your Azure AD of O365. So you can use the Azure AD tenant of O365 for controlling access to Azure as well. However, you cannot do vice versa, wherein your Azure AD tenant in Azure and you want to use that for O365, that's not possible today. But you can do other way around, where you have signed up for Office 365 and you get that tenant, which is smartplanet.onmicrosoft.com. Now you sign up for Azure, you can associate your Azure subscription to this Azure AD tenant.
So to give a highlights of what Neeraj has told you, so you can see that I have a tenant of smartplanet.onmicrosoft.com, right? Now, if I click on Azure Active Directory, so what I have done is that I have integrated this Office 365 tenant with that of Azure. So you can see that I'm just logged into the Azure Active Directory portal. So here I am using the same tenant, and whatever the users that I create in Office 365, the same users are already present in this Azure Active Directory tenant. So if I click on users, So here, so all the users, so you can actually see my user ID out here.
Yeah. So I mean, Vijay, in essentially, yes, you can share your Azure AD tenant between O365 and Azure. But you'll have to start with the O365 Azure AD tenant and use or associate that Azure AD tenant with your Azure subscription.
Yeah.
So are you saying first I'll have to create a Office 365 tenant which I can associate with my Azure Active Directory? Azure.
Correct. Azure, yeah.
But not vice versa.
Yeah, but not vice versa. You cannot bring your Azure AD from Azure subscription into O365.
Okay, thanks Neeraj and Vijit.
So guys, any more questions? So we are still open and we can answer it.
So there's a question, any backup solution for O365? So, I mean, Office 365 itself offers you, those solutions. I don't know if you mean to have an offline backup for O365.
Amit, definitely there are backup solutions of Office 365, but definitely I don't know the reason of why someone should opt for a backup solution of Office 365 because
Vijit, I have an example for it. It's a use case.
Yeah, tell me.
One of our clients in my current organization does require a backup solution for Office 365. They have a lot of restrictions towards their data, and somehow they need another copy of it. When I understand that it's a SaaS solution doesn't require actually, doesn't need to be on a backup, but they still require it. So as far as I've heard, I've not even seen that VM, they do provide some sort of backup solution, but I'm not sure.
There is a software which is known as Veeam Net Backup. I'm just writing it in the chat. So it's VWM, Veeam Net Backup for O365. So the company name is Veeam itself. So they are actually providing you a backup solution for Office 365. And there is another solution which is, there is a company which is known as NetEnrich. So they have also having a solution for Office 365 backup.
Okay. And that is okay. And that will be a further question, as in how tenant based or user based. That's okay with maybe they have their own licenses.
So Veeam is actually user based. So because I have implemented Veeam for a couple of my customers. So Veeam licenses is more or less the same license of Office 365. It named user based licenses. But for NetEnrich, frankly speaking, I haven't got a chance to use NetEnrich, and so I'm not sure about. So definitely, I can get back to you after having a couple of queries from the persons.
That makes sense. Thank you, Vijay.
For others, if you have any follow-up questions, please do post those questions in our O365 forum, which is t.me/O365Talk. And you can also find us in Telegram. You can search with that. So you can post all your questions there, and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions.
Vijit, one quick question last before we move. You said Veeam is a part of a user-based license, like E3. It has in E3 you have.
It's not like E3. The Veeam license is user-based. So suppose
it doesn't come in this Office 365. Suite,
right? So suppose you want to take a backup of 150 users of Office 365, and if you want to implement Veeam, so you have to take out of those 150 users, if you want to take backup of 50 users, so you have to take 50 user named licenses of Veeam, and there will be one server from Veeam, and you need to take user licenses of 50 users.
but it doesn't
So
include.
Veeam is a third party, Alpesh. Veeam is a
Oh,
third party
yeah,
tool. It's
yeah.
not Microsoft.
It's a third-party tool. It's not a
I
Microsoft tool.
was trying to understand that. When we toggle the bars, like when we want to toggle for Dynamics CRM, do we have to toggle it for Veeam also, or it is like a separate thing altogether?
No,
Doesn't
it's
come
a completely separate thing.
Okay.
You have to integrate it with your Office 365. There are certain applications, or there is an agent which needs to be installed, and then you have to provide your Office 365 credential, a credential which is having an enterprise admin rights, and then there will be a connector which will be automatically coming to your Office.
Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah,
I got it.
There is one last quick question. Can we overcommit the licenses?
Pardon?
Can we overcommit license, or it will be hard stop once we'll read out our license?
No, it will be hard stopped.
Okay, thank you.
Like, you cannot assign licenses if you have if you have 300 license, you can only assign 300. You cannot assign the 301th user.
Oh, thank you.
I think we are 10 minutes past our assigned time slot. So at this point of time, I would like to conclude our call, and I want to thank everybody. I want to conclude this on a thank you note for everybody who joined our session, and certainly do look out for our communication. We will post the video recording in case you missed, and you can also share it with your colleagues, and they can refer our video sessions. So we'll post this session on YouTube, and you can reach out to us, and we'll also post this information in our Azure Talk forum as well as O365 Talk forum. So do keep a watch on that. And I want to thank you. I want to say thank you to Abhijit and to all the audience who participated and asked very meaningful and insightful questions. And we'll keep coming up with these kind of sessions in future too. So thank you once again for everybody for joining today's session, and we hope to see you again next week in our different session for Azure Talk. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith and Neeraj.